Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius. Well, today we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a video game about bulldozing rocks, a book about a cat-shaped cell phone that can be your friend, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Howard Berg. Howard is a world record holder. He has the title of the world's fastest reader.
Well, thank you for having me. It's going to be some fun.
You're welcome.
We'll teach everyone how to read and learn fast today.
That's right. And today, we're going to start off with the video game of the week, and this is going to be a push.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Today's video game is Stone Mining Simulator. This game is made by HotPod Studio. Because it's on Roblox, you are able to play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free! You may remember HotPod Studios from their other games, Ninja Blade and Train Destruction.
Or maybe not.
So first off, when you start the game, you have what looks like a bulldozer in a store with pets and upgrades. They call this bulldozer an excavator. You dig up some ore and even knock down trees. Then when your storage is full, you can sell the ore you collected and purchase upgrades. The upgrades are like number of spikes on your excavator, and the size of the spikes, and even the speed of the roller on your excavator. You can even upgrade the storage load. This is actually kind of fun. Well, then you can buy some pets. They can help you by giving more storage space and more power. You can purchase pets with the money that you earned from selling the ore. Well, I use Stone Mining Simulator 8 out of 10 stars because I really enjoy upgrading the excavator and getting more pets that can help you. It's fun to knock down the trees and get more ore.
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855.
And now it's time for the book of the week, Jinxed. This book is written by Amy McClaw. Remember to the back of the book. In fact, Howard, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I'm done. What would you like me to do? It's about Lucy Chu. She wants to work for a company called Monka. They make a pet called Manchu, which is a customizable pet. And she's always dreamed of working for that company.
Wow. Well, now while I review this book, Howard is going to read it right next to me. Ready?
Ready.
On your mark.
You gotta flip the pages a little.
Get set. Go!
Okay, let's get to the front of the book.
Now, this is an AR book for 12 full points. It's rated for 5th grade and 4th month. So this book is a fictional story about Lacey that was really smart and loved engineering. She wanted to work with the latest cool pet that looks like a robot, that looks like an animal, that can help you with everyday things like your smartphone. Her hopes were dashed when she did not have a good enough Baku to get into the training school. Later, she did find a Baku that was injured. This looked like a cat. She tried to help it. She sneezed at the same time as the Baku and said Jinx. Because of that, the cat marked her as her new owner and named herself Jinx. This was awesome. With Jinx by her side, all was going well for her. She got an offer to go to the school and, well, I can't tell you the whole story, but it was amazing. I strongly suggest this book.
Okay. Well, I read the first 2 chapters. So it basically starts off just with a soldering iron, and she's working with her pet dog, and she's playing with the dog, and then she comes upon, she's trying to get a job with this company that makes the Manchu, and it's a school that does tech that she's really excited about attending, and she's sending in her application, and waiting to hear back. And that's basically the first 2-3 chapters.
Well, I give Jinxed 11 out of 10 stars because I really like the relationship that Lacey has with her robotic cat that seems to be almost real.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And now it's time for our interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Howard Berg. Well, Howard is a world record holder with the title, the fastest reader in the world.
This is true. Yes, I am. So, we'll have some fun today. We'll talk about how it's done and how everyone watching can read faster and learn more.
That's right.
Yeah.
So first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
I'm finding it interesting. It's different. I never had an interview at your age before, and you're doing a very good job.
Thank you. Okay, so you were listed as the world's fastest reader. How do you record your speed? Is it words per minute or pages per hour? So how fast do you read?
It's about 25,000 words a minute. Depends on the size of the text and the number of pages. I basically read 80 pages a minute. It's a page and a half a second. What slows me down is turning the page. You have to turn it. That takes a half a second. Makes you go a little slower.
See, but if it was on a computer,
You can go faster.
scroll.
Which is what I'm doing now. I'm teaching more people are reading ebooks than physical books. So I've updated my program at Berg Learning to show people how to read, like Kindles, Kindle apps on a computer.
Kindles
Or
are hard though.
no,
'cause you
no,
have to
no, no,
tap
no, no.
it.
Not a Kindle app. You could read it on an iPad. You could read it on a phone. You could read it on a laptop or even a full-size computer. So it's very convenient. My grandkids are in college, and all the books they've read have been on Kindle.
So how did you get into learning to speed read?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, in a bad part of Brooklyn. A lot of gangs. It's like West Side Story without the music and dancing. And I found the safest place in my neighborhood was the library, because kids in gangs would rather be dead than caught in the library. And the worst thing that could happen in a library is a paper cut, which is better than a knife. So I had college reading when I was 11, and I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton, when I was 17 to major in biology. In my second half of my junior year, I told the dean I also want to major in psychology. There's a branch of biology called psychobiology. Not psychotic biology, that's Frankenstein. Psychobiology is the biology of behavior. And he said, well, you only have 1 year left. You haven't had any courses in psychology. You have to do the whole 4-year program in 1 year and finish the bio program at the same time. And I had 3 jobs. I was working 18 hours a week. He said, you're not smart enough. Also, I had to take 2 labs. Labs took 4 hours for the lab and 16 hours for the lab report. So it's 40 hours of lab, 18 credits of science, and 18 hours of working. And at the end of the year, I finished the 4-year psych program in 1 year. I got an 800 on the GRE in biology, which is the SAT for graduate school. I got in the 99th percentile. I read 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, cell physiology, and genetics. I got 3 questions wrong. And then it was, is it me or the system? There's a difference between you're special or you can make people special. That's not the same skill. So I taught children, 11 to 15, how to do this. They took college classes. They took a course in education, lifelong developmental psych in 1 week. It was a 30-chapter book. It was a sophomore course. And they finished in 1 week, took the AP test, and out of 18 students, 15 got full college credit in a week. So that's what we'll be talking about today, how you do that.
Wow. So when did you break the record for world's fastest reader?
I was in the 1990 record book. They've never had another record. So I'm the only one that they ever had.
Wow. So, if I wanted to learn to speed read, would you be able to show me?
That's what we're going to do. Would you like me to do it?
Sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so when you go home, people watching, pick a book you've read, preferably nonfiction. I don't usually read fiction. I read nonfiction because it's more structured. A history book goes from the past to the present. It doesn't start off and jump all over like a novel on time travel might.
Yeah.
So it's easier to read at high speed than a novel where you don't know where you're going or who anybody is.
Sure.
So read for a minute the way you normally do. Take a timer. See how far you go. Don't go anything special. And when you're done, take a pencil, mark off where you finished. So now you've measured how far you read in a minute.
True.
Now the magic. Go to the second chapter. You're going to take your hand. Watch closely. You're going to go across one line at a time with your eyes following your hand as fast as you could comprehend. And as long as you know what you're reading, go faster and faster and faster and faster till you don't. That's when you know you got too fast because you already understand the book. And then for 5 minutes, use your hand, go across one line at a time, eyes following your hand, as fast as you can understand. Don't go faster, don't go slower. Now go back to the first chapter where you tested yourself.
Keep on doing
For a minute, do what you just did. Use your hand, go as fast as you can. Remember you put a mark? You'll go 20 to 40% further. Just doing that one change, you'll speed up 20 to 40%. When you go to berglearning.com, you get the whole program. You can go 100 to 400% faster. It takes a couple of hours, not 5 minutes, but you'll be able to not just read faster, but understand and remember. And we could talk about how do you understand and remember if you'd like. That's it. Well, give me a hand.
That is cool.
Give me a hand. Go across one line at a time. One line at a time, as fast as you can, as long as you know what you're reading, fast, until you don't. And that's how you speed up. And as long as you know, if you go faster than you can read, it's too fast. Okay? There you go. Can you read that fast? No, don't go faster than you could read. Go as fast as you could read. There you go. That's it. You're on your way. You'll be a genius soon. Not just a talk show host, but a real genius. Okay.
What helped you decide that you could teach other people to read instead of just keeping a superpower to yourself?
Well, I had kids that were your age, a little older, and I was teaching them, and they were reading college books at 11 and finishing them in a week and taking the test, the AP test, and passing it. So I knew that I could do it. I also trained the U.S. Special Forces at Fort Bragg, the Royal Thai Army in Bangkok, Fortune 500 companies. So I've been doing it for 35 years, so I feel very confident. I've written several best-selling books, and my online program made $65 million. I didn't get the $65 million. That would have been better. But it made $65 million, which says there were a lot of people who bought it, and I met a lot of them, and they were telling me how much they doubled and tripled and quadrupled their reading speeds and understood what they were reading.
Wow. So do you have to be smart to be able to learn to speed read?
You don't have to be smart. You have to be able to read. So I've had people who can't read. It's like swimming. You don't go in the deep end if you can't float in the shallow end. Sure. If you can't read at a slow speed, you're probably not going to read at a fast speed either, or they speak another language. So do I speed read Chinese? No, you probably don't either. You have to actually...
I don't even know Chinese.
You have to read the language, and if you have average intelligence... We actually did a double-blind study. We took 100 random people who wanted to learn it, and we split them into two groups of 50. We used the Nelson-Denny, which is a standardized test, like an SAT, for reading speed and comprehension. Everyone in both groups, one did the A and then the B test. To make sure the B test didn't make you look smart, because it was a dumber test than the A test. Everyone did A and B, and then the other group did B and A. Everyone doubled or quadrupled in 4 hours with very, very good comprehensions. So we could confidently say a normal, average person could do this. I had an 11-year-old, Justin. He had a C average when he was 11. Taught him how to learn. At 22, he was an English professor. He finished high school at 15, got his 2-year degree at 17, his bachelor's at 19, master's in English at 21, and an English professor at 22. C student at 11. Not a genius. Now, I'll give you a genius, Stephen Terry. Stephen graduated college at 16, 4.0, all A's, economics major, very hard. Went to graduate school at 18, not college, graduate school, for a master's in math. He graduated at 19 with a 3.97 GPA, all A's, one B. And he said, I don't know what to tell my mom. I never got a B before. I said, Stephen, you had all A's in undergraduate. You got all A's and one B in a master's degree, and you're graduating at 19. I think your mom will keep you. It was a happy ending. His mother kept him, but made him promise never to get another B. He's a professor at Yale now. And that's what I do. I help people with problems. I had a special ed student. She had third grade reading in ninth grade. Not a genius. Third grade reading in ninth grade. They put her in special ed, and she didn't want to be in special ed. So we taught her how to learn. She ended up finishing high school and getting 2 years of college with a 4.0 all A's when her high school friends that she started with was still in high school. Went to Baylor, which is a good college, on a full scholarship, A average, had a master's degree at 22. And she was special ed. So we've seen some amazing result. Can't say everyone can do that. She worked really hard, and her mother helped her.
Wow. So how did you know that teaching other people to read fast was the go-to job for you?
I like helping people. I grew up in a really bad place as a child. I was beat with bats. I had knives to my throat. So I know what it feels like to be confused or frightened or feel there's no hope. And I've been fortunate to be able to get out of that and have a successful life. So when I meet people that are struggling, I understand what that feels like, and I try to help them. Because I feel when you can get out of a dark place and you know how to get them out, you have a responsibility to do it. It's not just about you.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I have been told that if I learn to read fast, that I can skip over words and not really understand the book. Is that true?
No. I could show you how to understand. Would you like to see how that works?
Yes.
Okay. So about 20 years ago, MSNBC, you've heard of the MSNBC news show?
No.
There's CNN, there's Fox, and MSNBC. Well, about 20 years ago when they started, one of their big talk show hosts was Dick Cavett. He was famous many years before you were born. And he told me a funny story about Woody Allen, the actor. He took Evelyn Woods, which was a big speed reading program then, and he read War and Peace, which is enormous, in 5 minutes. He says, that's amazing, Woody. What do you remember? And Woody said, it's about the Russian Revolution. That's all I remember, which is nothing. So when you use regular speed reading, it's a biology book. You didn't learn any biology. You know it was about biology. It was a math book. You didn't learn any math. I fixed it. The guy who owned Evelyn Woods was Maurice Thompson, and I trained his son on my system. And he said, I went past speed reading to speed learning, and I'm going to show you how. One of the secrets to reading super fast is called schema. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to read a passage to you. It has no schema. You won't have a clue what I'm talking about. Then I'll read it again with a one-word title, and instantly you'll know exactly what I'm reading. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready at home? Okay, here's the schemaless text. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and may cost you quite a bit of money. Would you bet your life right now you know what I'm talking about? No. I'm going to read it again with a one-word title that has schema. Watch what happens. It's like a magic trick. Laundry. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it.
That
this
makes
is
sense now.
This is a major problem. It could be very expensive. Are you confused now?
No.
Because what do you know it's about?
Laundry.
That's schema. So I'm teaching people where these clues are. So it's like the decoder ring. So even though you're going very fast, you know what to look for. And you actually understand hard material at the higher speed better than you did before, because you're not just reading quicker, you're thinking smarter.
What about different types of books? With math books or fiction books, do you have to read them differently?
Good question. Yes. Okay, imagine you're a surgeon and you're reading Grey's Anatomy. You're going to really want to learn all the parts of the body. Do you want to read the way somebody reading Harry Potter reads a book?
No.
You'll probably kill someone. If you're reading Harry Potter or Jinxed, your favorite book today, do you want to read it like a surgeon does when they're memorizing all the parts of the body?
No.
Exactly. So we make changes in how we read for different outcomes. Are you reading for fun? Are you reading the newspaper? You just want to know what happened. Are you studying math or science and really need to learn it at a high level and remember it and be able to answer questions about it? All different kinds of reading. And so I teach people a toolbox. Here are all the tools that you can use. See which one works best for you in that book. And it's different for different people. What you do to learn a language could be different than what you do to read Jinxed. What you do to read a math book could be different than what you do in a history book, because they're different subjects. Some subjects you like, some subjects you don't like. Some subjects you know more about, some subjects you know less about. You can't do the same thing in every book, because every book is different and every person is different. But I give you all the tools you need, so no matter what you're trying to do, learn at a high level or at a very low level, just kind of know what it's about. You'll have the tool you need to do it quicker and better.
Okay. So do you speed read on the computer as well, or just paper books?
Actually, on the computer a lot. More and more books today are on Kindles and on Kindle apps. I use it on my phone. I have a Kindle app on my phone. I have a Kindle app on my iPad. I have a Kindle app on my computer and
See, my mom has a Kindle, so.
Kindles are good too. The apps are actually a little better for studying. They give you more options for learning. But I think more and more people are reading ebooks. Plus, they're learning from podcasts from people like you.
True.
They're also learning from videos. So we have to teach not just how to read a book, but how to read all kinds of material, because people aren't just reading books anymore. And that's what I do.
So my dad said that your program is more than just reading fast. It's also learning fast. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. What if I told you to get an A in any class, you only have to know 5 things? Would you want to know what those 5 things are?
Yes.
Okay, the first of the 5 things is new words, vocabulary. About 80% of learning something new is learning the words. Well, which words do you learn? They're bolded, they're italic, they're underlined, they're in a table called the glossary, or they're in colors. They don't look like the other words. Why? The writer wants you to look at them. They look different. That's the first thing. The second thing are names. Who's in the book and what did they do? You didn't know who George Washington was when you were born. You now know. You had to learn the name and what he did. Third, numbers, dates, statistics, and formula. Numbers can be very important. 4, in a nonfiction book, like your textbooks in school, there's usually headings and subheadings that are divided into topics. The nose, the ear, the mouth. And so in each section, what are the 5 big takeaways, the main ideas? And last, and this is a big one, questions and answers. Most of the books you have in school, the questions are where? At the front or the back of the chapter? The back. And when do you see them? After you read. And what do you find out? You don't know the answer. Now what? You have to go look for it. What if you read the questions first and you knew what you had to look for before you started to read?
Smart.
And then when you saw what you needed to know at the back in the book, would you pay more attention?
Yes.
Those are the 5 things. Words, names, numbers, dates, statistics, the main ideas in each section, questions and answers. If you know every word and what it means, every person and what they did, every number and how it's used, the 5 big takeaways in everything in your book, answers to every question, what else do you think you need to know? Nothing. You're going to get an A. And that's how these kids did that 30-chapter book in lifelong developmental psych at 11 years old in 1 week.
Wow.
They knew exactly what they were looking for and how to learn it.
So how long does it take to learn to speed read with your program?
The program is online. It's at berglearning.com. We broke it into 7 weeks to make it simple. A lot of young people today have short attention spans.
Yeah.
So we made 10-minute lessons. Most of there's a couple that are a little longer, but most of them are 10 minutes. So you spend 10 minutes a day for 7 weeks. So it's not a lot of time. But at the end of the 7 weeks, you'll read 100 to 400% faster. You'll know what to look for. You know how to find it. You know what to do when you're confused to understand it better. How to remember it. And this is a big one. How to stay in the right state so you don't get nervous on a test or tired. Did you ever get nervous on a test? Did it make you feel good or bad?
Bad.
Did you remember less when you were nervous or better? Less. What if you could learn to stay calm during the test? Would that help?
Yes.
I teach that. What if you learn to stay focused while you're taking the test? Would that help?
Yes.
I teach that. What if you learned how to wake up on a long test? Those long tests they give in school, reading tests and things like that, and you get tired. What if you could stay alert? Would you get a higher score?
Yes.
That's called emotional intelligence, and it's learnable. If you'd like, I could show you how.
Thank you. Now, have you ever found someone that should not learn to speed read?
Yes. One person, they were a copy editor. This is someone who reads books and has to see the dots on the I and the crosses on the T's and has to read each letter to make sure the word two is not TWO or two T, a T and two O's or a T and one O. So they were looking at each letter and they couldn't change the way their brain was looking at a book because they were reading one letter at a time instead of words. And I told them it probably was better for them not to learn to do what I do because it would take away the superpower they already had, which was to see the tiniest mistake that was in the book that few people would pick up. Says, but to be able to do that would probably make it more difficult to see a whole page in a second because you're looking at a microscope instead of the whole page.
Yeah. So what is the hardest part about teaching people to speed read?
The hardest part is emotional intelligence. I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'll show you what the hardest part is. When you're in a car, you read the road. So you don't drive yet, but your dad does. So he reads the road in front, back, left, and right, all at the same time. He's going about 70 miles an hour on the highway. If he's driving slow in Florida, he's going 70. He's got to read the gauges on the car, the GPS. It's boring. Turns on the radio, talks to you, and he's on the phone. All at the same time, boring. You read a book, the average speed is about 200 words a minute. It's right in front of you, and the next day you're lucky if you know 10% of what you read. How come you could drive at 70 miles an hour on a highway in 4 directions and get bored, but you can only read 200 words a minute in a book and barely remember anything? And the answer is simple. When you're in a car, everything's like a movie. You're taking in pictures, and you're remembering what you're seeing around you. When you're in a book, it's like someone's in the back of your head talking one word at a time. You're hearing the book with your eyes. Do your eyes listen or see?
They listen.
Normally.
See.
You see. So we're using our eyes as ears. That's what slows you down. So I have to teach you to see the movie in the book. So here's the problem. The part of your brain that can do this turns on when you get confused. When you're trying to read faster and faster, you reach a point where you can't hear it anymore. And there's a way to teach you to switch on the other part of your brain that can see the movie. But for about 10 minutes, it doesn't turn on. So you're not hearing anything anymore, and you're not seeing well yet. You're in the middle. And that's the hardest part. How do you get people to be comfortable being uncomfortable? And I'm going to show you how. Okay? This is what I tell them, and it's true. You're going to get confused on purpose. The confusion will turn on the part of your brain that can read fast. So you need to get confused temporarily, 10, 15 minutes, that's all. And when you're done being confused, you'll be reading 100 to 400% faster. So listen carefully. This is important what I'm about to say. Listen what I'm saying. So for the first time in your life, you can relax as you're getting more and more confused. What do you think happens when they get confused? What do? They get frustrated. They get relaxed. Because they would have gotten frustrated. That was the problem. You asked me what's the biggest problem. That was
Getting
the problem. They
frustrated.
got frustrated and they gave up. If they just relaxed for a few minutes, they would be reading faster and understanding. So I'm telling them to relax. That's hypnosis. I'm giving them an unconscious command. As
Sure.
you're getting confused, you can relax. Why? Because it's true. They will be able to read faster and they will understand better because they relaxed during that transition. That was the hardest part. Getting
Wow.
people to relax when they're confused.
Well, what's the best part about being a speed reading instructor?
I'll give you the best part. About 15 years ago, I'm lecturing on cruises. My wife wanted to go to Hawaii, and there was a cruise, and I can go for free. So I said, I want to go to Hawaii. They said, well, they don't want speed reading. Well, that's not great. What do I want to teach? Speed reading. I said, okay, what do they want? I said, we want someone to teach Photoshop, photography, and video. So what do you think I said? I teach that. Did I teach that?
No.
I read 80 pages a minute. I can read 10 books in 3 hours. And the rule is...
What?
Yes. So the rule is, if you read 10 books, you learn something. So I read 10 books on Photoshop in 3 hours. I learned Photoshop. The next day I read 10 books on photography. I learned photography. The next day I read 10 books on video. I learned video.
Yeah.
Now I go to the cruise, and I'm like, please, God, let these people not know that a camera doesn't have film anymore. You know, they have cameras now with no film. Well, back when I was young, everyone had film in the camera. So if they didn't know, it was like, if they don't know this, how do you take a picture without film? That was my perfect audience, right?
Yeah.
First person that comes in the room, he's a professional photographer, 38 years. He wants me to teach him how to take pictures.
Goodness.
The second person comes in the room, they've been doing Photoshop for 5 years. They want me to teach them Photoshop. I did it for 10 hours one day. So my wife's sitting in the front crying. They said if I didn't do it, they'd throw us off the boat. Not in the water, but when we got to shore. And they did throw people off the boat, by the way. So for a week, I'm teaching these people Photoshop, photography, and video. At the end of the week, they say, how many years did you study to learn all that? I didn't say I learned it last week in 3 hours. I wanted a free trip to Hawaii. That's the beauty. I don't like to read. Do you know what I like? Learning. Reading is a tool like a hammer or a screwdriver or a saw. What I love is the information.
Learning is the nail.
Learning is the
Like you're
nail.
hammering
That's
into a
it.
wall.
And that's the best part. Anything I need to know. Imagine next year, every day you learn a new skill, like how to take pictures, how to write. I wrote my last book in 5 hours. It went #1 on Amazon the next day. So you learn to write a book in a day. You learn how to learn any subject you want to know in a few hours' time. Where will you be a year from now? A lot smarter. 10 years from now. 20 years from now.
A lot smarter than I think I will
That's
be.
what we do. That's what berglearning.com is about. It's teaching people the skills they need to learn the information that'll make them successful in school now and in life later. Because everything you do is based on one thing, what you know. When's the last time you made a decision based on what you didn't know? It doesn't happen. If you know more, you're going to make better decisions.
Exactly.
That's it.
So what is the best age for someone to learn to speed read?
8 and up. I found that when the best stage is 6th grade and up. So 6th grade is 11. I've had
Sixth grade's 11, 12,
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, I've had kids as young as 8, but they were very, very, very smart, exceptional. Most kids at 8 are not able to sit for a few hours to learn, but the average student is 11 and up. It's 6th grade and up, and the reason is the first 3 years of school is how to read, and then the 4th grade is the first grade you read to learn, and by 6th grade you've had 2 years experience, you've built vocabulary. So English is no longer a foreign language. That's why.
Good. So what advice would you give to my listeners if they want to grow up and teach other people to speed read?
Go to berglearning.com because that's where I teach it. I can't do the whole thing in 5 minutes here, but the whole program is there.
Wow.
I'll give you my email, howard@berglearning.com. If you need my help, I'll help you for free. I want more people to learn this because it's going to make the children in our country smarter. I mean, look at all the things we're getting. You have global warming. You got viruses. You got a war in Europe. There's all kinds of crazy stuff in the world. Let's make people your age smart enough to solve some of the problems you're going to have when you grow up. That's my job. I want to help more people that are growing up to be successful and have more intelligence and have more information. So they can find a cure for cancer, and they can find a way to pay off the national debt, and maybe make the world go green so we don't destroy the environment. There's so many things we need to do.
We do need blue, though. We do need the ocean.
Yes.
Well, what was your favorite book as a child? Did that help you build your love for speed reading?
Actually, I read a lot of Dr. Seuss books when I was
good
really
books.
young. We're talking young. I was 4 years old. I don't read them now, unless I read them to my grandkids. But I was learning how to read, and I love those books. I love the Curious George books were very good. Peppy Livestock books.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Curious George was great.
Yeah, they were great books to learn how to read.
Well, what was the one message that you want to get out to the kids all over the world about speed reading?
That you can do this. You can learn faster, understand better, remember it, recall it, get higher grades without the stress, without the hassle, without worrying about taking tests. I'll show you how to take tests and get higher grades. And if, again, you need my help, howard@berglearning.com is my email. Send me an email. I'll go on Zoom. I'll make sure you learn it. I'm the president of my Rotary Club. I know your dad is in Rotary. That's where I met him. And Rotarians try to make the world a better place, to try to help people. So this isn't just I'm the president of my club. This isn't just about making money for me. This is about making a difference. So I really want you and your friends to learn this.
So I run a radio show and podcast that talks about God during my Lion Strong segment. How do you include God's message in your work?
Would you like to learn something about God that you didn't know?
Yes.
Okay, actually I can do two things. Okay, you have a universe. Science says it starts off smaller than an atom, and then it gets really big really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, where does it go? It's everything. So where does everything go if it's everything? I'm going to show you.
Anywhere.
Okay, picture a tiny point picture in your mind an infinitely tiny universe that's smaller than an atom. Now picture it exploding in every direction, faster than the speed of light, growing. Notice something? The small one and the big one fit in your head, didn't they? So if God creates the universe out of thought, which is what the Bible says, he envisioned it, it's a thought. And it can go infinitely large and still occupy the same space.
True.
So that's something about God. I could give you another one. Would you like to know the secret of Jesus' name?
Yes.
Okay. God's name in Hebrew is Yad He Vav He final. And it's pronounced Yahweh. Jesus' name in Hebrew was Yad He Shin Vav He final, which is Yeshua. In the Bible, it's Yeshua ben Joseph, Yeshua, son of Joseph. Okay, the Shin in Hebrew is the Trinity. It's a symbol of the Trinity. So you have the Word of God, Yad He Vav He final, with the Trinity symbol Shin in the middle. Now, when it went from Hebrew to Greek, the Greeks changed the Yahweh, the Y, to J. So Yahweh became Jehovah, and Yeshua became Jesus. And Jesus' name is the name of God in Hebrew with a shin in the middle. It's an anagram.
Wow.
Okay.
So what jobs do you think will benefit the most from learning to speed read first?
What jobs won't? I'll check it. If you have a job where what you do depends on what you know, and you know more, you're going to make more money, you're going to be more productive, you're going to have more time to do the things you love. Those are the jobs. Now, if you're a secretary and you read 50 times more and you get the same money, it's not a big benefit. If you're a person whose job, like a salesperson or an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, and they can learn twice as much in half the time, they're going to make a lot more money and be more able to help people. So most jobs, it'll benefit.
So now I noticed that when the government passes a new law, it is thousands of pages and they have to read it before they pass the bill. Do all the people in the government know how to speed read to be able to read that many thousands of pages before they vote on it?
No, in fact, they very rarely read what they're going to vote on. They have people in their office. I read the healthcare bill, which was 1,500 pages, on this many pages off the floor, on Cavuto in 50 minutes. And then I did a full analysis, and I was able to predict everything that happen. I would love to train them on the system. I think they really do need it. You're correct about that.
Wow. Well, what was the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
It was my first marriage. I tell you, my first marriage was a storybook marriage. Unfortunately, Stephen King wrote the book. If you're familiar with Stephen King, it's a horror writer. He writes horror books. But I have a wonderful wife now. She's the nicest person I know. And I'm still good friends with my ex-wife. We had 2 beautiful kids. And I think it's very important to stay friends so the kids are happy. And but we were too young, and we really didn't know who we were. And by the time we found out who we were, we realized we weren't compatible. So I found someone I am compatible with, and I've been with them 30 years, and I feel like I'm still dating after 30 years. She's the nicest thing that ever happened to me.
Wow. Well, do you ever decide to read slowly on purpose?
Yes. Sometimes I want to enjoy what I read. You don't want to look at the Mona Lisa on a skateboard. You want to look at it, right? You don't want to read Shakespeare poem you want to read a Shakespeare poem like this. Great poem. You're not going to enjoy it. So sometimes I slow down to enjoy. But when I'm trying to learn information, I want to learn it fast, remember it for a long time, and remember it well. So that's a different goal. Remember I said different goals, different strategies.
And I do remember this whole book.
Good for you.
I do.
Well, I can tell you're very intelligent.
I really like this book.
That says something.
I've also finished the second book, which is amazing. I think
what comes
like
after
this book.
Unjinxed?
No. Unleashed.
Unleashed?
But, yeah.
Okay.
But it is a very good book.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's important. I can't emphasize how important it is for young people to read. Because when you grow older, your skill in reading will make the difference between making a good living or not. 30% of all the jobs today will disappear in 5 years because of computers.
Yeah.
So
Because of robots.
Because of robots. So what are you going to do? You have to be smart enough to learn something
exactly
fast.
That.
Like learning how to do Photoshop in one day. So when you can do that, you can do anything. It won't matter what happens. You'll be ahead of the game.
I don't think we need these machines anymore. I think we can do it ourselves.
Heck with the machines. I'm smarter than them.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. But that one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Yeah, I can tell you a story. When I was in my last year of college, so I was studying about 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for 10 months. No break. No life, no social life, just work, class, lab, and study. And I was mentally exhausted when I finished that. I did it, and I succeeded, but I pushed myself past my physical limit, like someone who ran too far. It was just too much. So it stressed me out. And then what I did, I started studying how to control my mind, how to meditate and control my thoughts, and learn to focus and eliminate negative emotions that were causing disruption in my life. And when I learned how to do that, now I teach others how to do that also, so they can have a better life. But I overdid it. I just overdid it.
Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
Yes, I really care about them and what happens to them, a grandparent. And the world's in trouble. We need people who can think. Do you watch the news? Do you ever think there's too many smart people in the world making too many good decisions? No one's telling me that. No. My job, I can't fix every problem. I know that. But I can make people like you and the people watching smart enough that they can fix the problems. And together we can make a better world. And that's really my goal. It's not, the reading again is a tool. The goal is to make people smart so we have a better world.
Well, do you have a website or Facebook for my listeners who want to follow you?
Absolutely. Go to berglearning.com, B-E-R-G learning.com, and that's my website. We have a 40% discount. My email is howard@berglearning.com. I'm on Facebook. I think I have 5,000 followers. I'm on LinkedIn. I have like 24,000 followers. I think I'm on Snapchat, and a couple of others. I can't keep track of all of them. There's so many now.
Twitter,
right? But
Meta.
But my goal is to help them, and if they go to Berg Learning, That's where they'll get the program, and it'll change their life. I can promise it'll work, because I'll make sure it works.
Mm-hmm. So what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
How to remember. You didn't ask me memory. Can I do a memory? Do we have time to do memory? Okay, I'm going to give you 10 things to remember. I won't show you how. You won't be able to. Then I'll show you how, and instantly you'll remember all 10, backwards and forwards. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Those watching, you do this with us. You want to remember pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. Can you repeat them all backwards?
Bowling pins, cat, car, wheels?
That's close. I want to teach you now how to do it. You want to learn a secret? If you take a list you know and combine it with the list you're learning, it takes less time. I'm going to bet, Tiberius, you and the people watching can count to 10. Can you count to 10?
10, 9, 8,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10.
Okay, that's
10,
in your
8,
mind.
7,
Let's
6,
do
7,
it.
5, 6,
We're going to take the number 1. The number 1 looks like a pole, like a flag pole. When I say 1, you say pole. 1.
Pole.
Perfect. 2, how many shoes are you wearing?
2.
What's 2?
Shoes.
What's 1?
Pole.
Perfect. 3 is a tricycle. 3 wheels. What's 3?
Tricycle.
What's 2?
Shoes.
What's 1?
Pole.
Getting smarter, Tiberius. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car?
4.
What's 4?
Car.
That's right. What was 2?
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
Excellent. 5 is a glove. How many fingers in a glove?
5.
What's 5?
Glove.
What's 3?
Tricycle.
What's 1?
Pole.
Getting smarter yet. 6 gun. They love them in Texas. They're cowboys. 6 gun. What's 6?
6 gun.
What was 4? 4 tires.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Excellent.
Wow.
Lucky 7 in dice. Lucky 7. 7 is dice. What's 7?
Dice.
What was 5? Give me a
Glove.
clue. Glove. 3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
You're almost done. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate.
8 skate.
What's 8?
8 skate.
What was 6? What did they love in Texas?
6 gun.
4. Tire.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
Perfect. 9. How many lives does the cat have?
9.
What's 9?
Cat.
7's lucky in what game? Lucky 7?
Dice.
5 is a?
Glove.
3 is a?
Tricycle.
What's 1?
Pole.
Last one is 10. You ever go bowling? How many pins?
10 bowling pins.
10 bowling pins.
I'm actually a pretty good bowler.
So what's 10?
Bowling pins.
What's 1?
Pole.
What's 2?
Shoes.
What's 3?
Tricycle.
What's 4?
Car.
What's 5?
Glove.
6, Texas.
6 gun.
7's lucky in?
Dice.
7, 8 rhymes with?
Skate.
9 is a? 9 lives?
Cat.
And what was 10, the thing you're good at?
Bowling pins.
You just got all 10 in a row. Now I'll show you how to use it. It's the speed learn numbers in school.
Oh.
Let's imagine you have to learn 314. 314 is pi. That's what they use to measure circles.
3.14.
Yeah. So,
3.14.
what picture is 3? 3 is a?
Tricycle.
What's 1?
Pole.
What's 4?
Car.
A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture that. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3.
Hits a pole
1.
on a car.
4.
That's how you learn numbers. Turn them to
180.
pictures and make a movie. And what's the 0? The 10 bowling pins. Because 1 to 9, you know. 10 bowling pins.
It's just a night.
Because 0 to 9 is all the numbers.
It's just a dot. So
Now you know how to
what would
speed
it
learn.
not be? A speed
Now you-
bump?
Now you learn how to speed learn numbers.
Wow.
Okay. Did that help?
Good. Yeah. Thank you, Howard, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
What is that?
I talk about a thing on about math.
I do speed math. Would you like me to show you something for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Tiberius's favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Thank you, Howard, for helping me with Math Corners. Last week we talked about two-step equations, and well, we did a word problem. I'm not a fan of those word problems, but my dad seems to be really enjoying finding new ones for me to make me annoyed. Okay, here we go. Zoe's bikes rents bikes for $10 plus $4 per hour. Janice paid $30 to rent a bike. How many hours does she rent the bike?
Do you want me to answer that?
Well, not right now. Okay, so this time I'm going to do the equation first so that I don't have to do the answer twice like last time. So first, we need to find the variable. They would want to know the number of hours, so that will be the variable x. Now we know that is $4 an hour, so 4x is the cost of the writing. But there was a setup cost, which is $10. So 4x plus 10 equals the amount spent, which is $30. So now we have the formula. We subtract 10 from both sides and get 4x equals 20. Then you divide 4 and then get x equals 5. Then this is great and much slower, but still good. That was a lot of bike riding. So Howard, do you now know all about solving two-step word problems?
I don't know if I know all, but I had to figure out how many hours I could ride my bike.
But did you get 5 as your answer?
Yeah, actually I did.
See how I do it.
I was going to go like that, but I didn't want to spoil it.
Boom. Well, my teacher says that I would use math every day. Do you have to use math in your job?
Every job.
Yeah.
Everything runs on numbers.
Especially
everything.
The number page, number of pages in the book, how many words, so many different things in the book. So, thank you so much, Howard, for your help with Math Corners.
Thank you for having me.
See David Smith Law.com.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
Wait, you are not Chuck.
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help people.
If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
That website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Offices, Orlando.
Does it actually have that much W's?
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. Well, this week we're going to talk about obedience. For me, I think obedience is being fully committed to doing what is pleasing to God, while the qualities of obedience are compliance with a good attitude and respect for the laws. And you know when someone is obedient when they follow instructions willingly and thoroughly. Now, normally this is not my best virtue, but this week when my mom asked me to do some extra reading, I did it right away. Later, she gave me 3 different IXLs to try out to improve my English skills. I did it right away with a smile on my face. I got all my extra stuff done, and I did it willingly and correctly. So, Howard, did you see or use obedience at all this week?
It's been a long week. I don't know if that was the main problem I had this week. I had a problem getting my computer. I ordered after 3 months, and my phone broke after I had it for 1 week. So I was more in repair mode than obedience mode this week. But I agree with what you said about obedience. I thought you had some very good perspectives on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is your favorite?
I think integrity, because there are a lot of things you can learn in life, but being honest and doing what you promise and sticking to what you say you're going to do, that's a rare thing in today's world. A lot of people tell you what you want to hear to close a deal and don't do it. So I think integrity is really, really important, because you're only as good as your word. And if your word doesn't mean anything, who are you?
True. Well, we should always try and be line-strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes. I'm a Leo, so I'm a lion.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Howard Berg for being on my show. It has been so much to talk to you today. I think we learned about the amazing world of speed reading. I can't wait to try it.
I can't wait for you to try it and see how well you do. And if you go to berglearning.com, we have a special 40% discount right now for the audience when they go there, and that'll help them learn the program almost half off. And if they need help, Howard at Berg Learning, I'll make sure that they get the information they need to actually learn the program.
Wow. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram on The Tiberius Show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and subscribe. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberian Sport!